Can all of you see that the privacy you seek is the way you deny your brother of the blessing of your prayer? Well, I can't get involved with everyone. Well, then keep on dying. Stay separate, you see? Stay separate. Stay private. Don't care, because that is involvement. Keep blocking your function and keep dying. Do you see what I'm saying? But that's not my point. My point is for you to realize what's happening when you care, what's happening when you love, is that prayer isn't just a string of words you say. Prayer is caring. Caring is prayer. It's involving. It involves you in your heart, you might say. You become involved. And when you become involved because you really care, a blessing occurs. The prayer is answered. And you are the answer. And when you're the answer, and you experience the involving aspect of that as well, you won't ask, do I have to do this with everyone? And you won't think that it's too much to do it with everyone. The joy of it will be so significant that you will wonder what you were thinking of when you had justification for withholding it. Gee, I thought Jesus was my Savior. I thought the Christ was my Savior. And the slob over there sure doesn't look like the Christ to me. Doesn't act like the Christ. And what does that mean? What that means is the Christ in you isn't alive at the moment, registering in your awareness, because caring hasn't occurred yet. That's what it means. And yet that one is the Christ, suffering from his ignorance of his Christhood. And because the suffering is illegitimate for him, he invites, by his misery, by his unwithheld expression of his need, your compassion. You see, it invites the response of caring rather than judgment. And so, this miserable one is your salvation, because it's an opportunity for you to care, to feel love, compassion, caring for him. And in your caring, you come back into your function, your fulfillment of purpose for being. And that constitutes a prayer which God answers. And you feel as it's extended. I've said before that all of the awakened brotherhood experience a lack. Because while all of you are enjoying the game of independence, the fantasy of independence, you are not available to us. And we're not available to you. And so the brotherhood doesn't, as a whole, experience its wholeness consciously. Is the answer, as far as we're concerned, to sit around and grouse about all of you? How inconsiderate you are? No. It's an opportunity for us to love. It's an opportunity for us to care. And it feels good because we're on the beam. I don't mean give us a gold star because we're on the beam. When you're on the beam, you feel good. When you're on the beam, you're experiencing harmony. When you're on the beam, there's never an interruption of the flow of the Father's love. Because you're not taking your finger off the trigger on the nozzle on the hose. And so the flow is never intermittent. It's never interrupted. But it's sort of like dominoes. I love you. I love you all. I love everyone. But it's not enough for me to love you. You've got to pass it on. Because until you are loving your brother, you won't wake up. You won't come into the fullness of the experience of what you divinely are. This all ties together. Because if you want to see your body visibly identifying the glory of God rather than age, then love your brother. Because that constitutes a joining, a union, which undoes the effects of being separate, independent, autonomous, which is what aging and death is the result of, as well as birth. The way you get out of that cycle is by fulfilling your function. which is to be the place where love flows into expression, because that's what God is. There's a lot of, mirrors are used a lot in New Age thinking. And so you go to work and someone's grumpy and you say, oh, they must be mirroring back me to me. I didn't think I was grumpy, but I must be somewhere in me, I must be grumpy. Well, you want to know what? The one who's being grumpy and is not covering up his need is being the Christ to the best of his ability, which is giving you the opportunity to be the Christ to the best of your ability. And so what is it that's being reflected back to you? The Christ. You see, if you're going to be confused in your metaphysical or New Age thinking, you will take yourself as the human entity that you think you are, and you will take the human entity that you think everyone else is, and this will be what will be mirrored back and forth. And you start and end with the same ignorance you began with. But your brother there who's suffering, or your sister who's suffering, is the Christ. Reflecting back to you your Christhood. It's a call for love. And the love can only come from the Christ that you are. And so the Christ that you are has to be let out of the box. It's time to come out of the closet. And let yourself feel the love, feel the caring, feel the compassion. Not for the poor human entity, but for the Christ who has the right to experience his divinity. And then, without thinking that you're being the source of the love, recognize that the caring, the love that you're feeling, is a prayer, and let God answer it in an involving way in your heart. Let it flow. And then you will begin to undo birth, growth, aging, and death. It's high time to be through with it. What if you can't pray for yourself? You just thought you asked a simple question today. What if you cannot be the authorizer, the author of a prayer for yourself? For yourself. What if the only one who can, quote, author a prayer for you is your brother? You can't be your own savior. Do you see? Do you see how much you need each other? If you cannot succeed at being an independent entity, then it means that your involvement with the whole brotherhood, with every aspect of the infinite expression of God, is the only choice for an experience of being that you have available to you, and that therefore privacy is nonsense, and that the answer to the problem of existence lies in the withdrawal of defenses and the employment of love. So that the unity of the infinite expression of God can be experienced in its exquisite harmony. It's called heaven. But as I've said before, it's got to start here. It's got to start with the apparently separated human entity that you think you are, actually being the place where the experience of caring is felt. And it's got to be with each other. You have nothing better to do all day long. Do you see that what I'm saying doesn't mean that you personally have to have or come up with the answer for your brother's need? What you have to do is care enough to let the love flow. The Father will answer the prayer. Just watch the lines disappear. Susan says that whenever there is a gathering and Paul is not claiming a separate mind of his own, that the lines leave his face. And then afterwards, he turns back into a pumpkin. I will tell you, the consistent experience of joy that comes from constant prayer, which is what Paul is engaged in this afternoon. The experience of it is peace and joy that is fulfillment itself. And the ongoing experience of this, if Paul indeed would acquiesce to my suggestion that he do this constantly, would result in the lines disappearing and staying gone, and for color to come back to his hair and hair to come back to his head, and a flat stomach, which he would dearly love. But he still enjoys a little time to think for himself.
Me too.
But now, you and he are not confused about what the answer is. And all of you are, I'm going to say, all of you are a little younger than when you arrived this afternoon. Because the truth of what I've said and the love with which I've said it has touched the Christ in each of you, and it's a little more conscious. But tomorrow, or on the way home in your car when you look in the rearview mirror, begin to use a little self-discipline. And when you see your fellow man, remember that here is your opportunity to stop getting older, as well as waking up.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take another break. Okay. Someone actually gets to ask a question.
Thank you. Just in sitting here, I've had many of my questions that I walked in the door with answered, and so it kind of evolves as the day goes on. But I'll tell you what I was feeling. When I came here, I was feeling very lost, very confused. And I thought that I was at the lowest point in my life. And if you mentioned that Paul was brought to his knees, I at least feel that I'm bent over and with very extreme low back pain. And as a result of all this confusion, it's like I've lost all my confidence to move on. And I don't know that my lack of success in my business venture...
I'm just going to briefly say, let us say lack of confidence to go on by yourself.
Yes.
Continue.
I didn't know if this was all a result of my previous unwillingness to connect with God, or if I was really moving in the wrong direction. I had been meditating, hoping I could get some guidance, and I just wasn't. And I don't know that it was just wasn't hearing what I needed to hear, or what. And all of this lack of success in doing what I thought I was good at, what I know I'm good at, was lending toward a lot of troubles with Maren and I. And I guess what I just need to know is, am I on the right track doing what I was doing? And is it appropriate for me to continue on the way I am with Maren, or does that need to change?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
I don't know if I should share with you. Just as we were sitting here, I told Maren what I had created for myself in my yoga studio was an ability for me to pass out that love in that confined area.
Just remember who it is that's standing in front of you. It doesn't have anything to do with being a yoga teacher, a successful one or an unsuccessful one. It doesn't have anything to do with people, independent, separated entities who could benefit from yoga. You doing what you're doing and them doing what they're doing, all of you doing it together, is simply the opportunity to glorify God, not glorify a teacher, and not help to glorify students. It's all about caring. It's not about becoming something. It really is about caring. It really is about making the gift. Paul makes the gift, but his hands are empty. And he's never going to become good at having something in his hands to give. You see what I mean? It's never going to get to the point where he will have learned how to be the presence of God by himself, so he can do it without me. You see? He'll never become self-sufficient. He, as a separated entity, will never become successful. All he can gift anyone with is what he is gifted with. And the only way he can be the recipient of a gift that he can extend is if he dares to care. Again, you're always making a gift that never originates with you.